morning, sir. Please, with your permission, I would like to have the prayer in silence. In the name of Almighty Allah, I pray.
God bless you, sir. National anthem. I welcome you to the 72nd Annual General Meeting of NCR Nigeria. I confirm that the registrar of members and directors in attendance at board meetings are available for inspection as statutorily required. I am the chairman of the company, and with me at this meeting are Mr. Charles Olotoba, the country manager, Mr. Matthew Adefila, our independent non-executive director, Mr. Caleb Chukwueke, our executive director, Chief President Biugaku, our independent non-executive director, joining us virtually. Mr. Jimmy James Kalmika, our non-executive director, joining us virtually. Mr. Ms. Karen Wilmot, our non-executive director, joining us from virtually. Members of the Statutory Audit Committee, Mrs. Marina Anandi, Alhaji Mustafa Jinodo, and Mr. Kashimawo Taiwo. Ms. Benny Zaya, representative of Allneck Nominees Limited. Mrs. Olua Fumilola Babalola. Mr. Uche Ukibo, representing the external auditors. Ms. Brenda Duke, representing Nigerian Stock Exchange. Ms. Duke, Barrister Kemi Babalola, Babakoni. Oh, you're here, thank you. Delighted. I ask the company secretary to read the notice convening the meeting.
Good morning again, distinguished morning, distinguished shareholders. Good morning, distinguished shareholders, our directors, our statutory audit members, our regulators present as well. I will now be reading the notice of the meeting. Notice is hereby given that the 72nd Annual General Meeting of NCR Nigeria PLC will be held virtually via the Zoom Cloud meeting platform on Wednesday, the 22nd of May, 2024 at 11 a.m. to transact the following businesses. 1. Ordinary business. To lay before the meeting the audited financial statements of the company for the year ended 31st of December 2023, together with the reports of the directors, the auditors, and the audit committee thereon. 2. To elect and re-elect directors. 3. To authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. 4. To elect shareholders members of the audit committee. 5. To disclose the remuneration of the members of the company in line with Section 257 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Special businesses by ordinary resolution. 1. To consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution of the company. That the remuneration of the non-executive directors of NCR Nigeria PLC for the year ended 31st of December 2004 and until further notice be and is hereby fixed at 4.5 million naira only as directors' fees. In addition, sitting allowances will be paid at standard agreed rates for each meeting attended by the directors. Please note that this represents no change in the components of the remuneration of the non-executive directors from the previous year. To consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution of the company. That pursuant to Rule 20.8 of the Rule Book of the Exchange 2015 Issuers Rules, a general mandate be and is hereby given authorizing the company during the 2024 financial year and up to the date of the next annual general meeting to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations for its related parties or interested persons on normal commercial terms consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category, which were earlier entered into in 2024 prior to the date of this meeting, are hereby ratified. Voting by interested persons. In line with the provisions of Rule 28H, Rules Governing Related Party Transactions of Nigerian Exchange Limited, interested persons have undertaken to ensure that their proxies, representatives, or associates shall abstain from voting on Resolution 7 above. Special business by special resolution, apologies. To consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolutions as a special resolution of the company. 1. That a new Article 48 be and is hereby inserted in the Articles of Association of the company, which reads as follows. Electronic meetings. That the annual general meeting shall be held in such manner at such time and place as the director shall appoint, including virtually or by any other electronic means. 2. That the existing Articles 48 to 129 be and are hereby renumbered as 49 to 130. Notes to the notice. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I now present to you the chairman's statement in the annual report for the year ended 31st December 2023, which you will find on pages 10 to 12 in the report, duly circulated to members. With your permission, will we take the report as read? Taken as read. Thank you, dear shareholders. The first item on our agenda for today is to lay before the meeting the company's annual financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2023, together with the reports of the directors, the auditors, and the audit committee thereon. I now call on the representative of the auditors. I now call on the chairman of the Statutory Audit Committee, Mrs. Atina Amadi.
Yes, auditor before. That's what?
When they arrive, shall we ask Mrs. Amadi?
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman, sir, I read the Audit Committee report. In accordance with the provisions of Section 404(7) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, we, the members of the Audit Committee of NCR Nigeria PLC,
Recording in progress.
confirm that we have carried out our statutory functions under the Act and have examined the auditor's report for the year ended 31st December 2023, and hereby states as follows. The scope and planning of the audits are adequate. The accounting and reporting policies of the company conform with the statutory requirements and agreed ethical practices. The internal control was being constantly and effectively monitored. We have reviewed the auditor's findings on management matters and are satisfied with the management responses thereon. Dated this 27th day of March 2024, Martina Amadi, FCA, Chairman, Audit Committee. Other members of the Audit Committee are Mustafa I. Jinodu, Matthew Adefila, Michael Valia, and Kashimawo Taiwo. Thank you, sir.
Any questions? Ladies and gentlemen, I lay the annual financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2023 before you. May I invite questions and comments on the financial statements? And the chairman's statement. Please. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is Evangelist Dr. Antonio Mojola, a shareholder. In the absence of the external auditors, we can give the CFO the indulgence to read a summary, the report of the external auditors. Because we can't go back to it when we start the question and answer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Apologies. We were just told that the external auditor had an emergency this morning. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders and regulators present. We are sorry for the absence of our external auditors. They just called that he has an emergency. They sent another person to represent them. Was requesting to be allowed to log in virtual, but it's too late communicating that now. So I will be taking their portion of the report as allowed by the members. Which page is it? So I will just read on the aspect of where their key audit matters are and where their report's opinion is to. The key audit matters are those matters that in our professional judgment are of most significance in our audit of the financial statements of the current year. The key audit matters are not a comprehensive reflection of all matters discussed. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit on the financial statements as a whole and informing our opinion thereon, and we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. So we have determined that there are no key audit matters to be communicated in our reports. We have fulfilled the responsibilities described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements section of our report, including in relation to these matters. Accordingly, our audit included the performance of procedures designed to respond to our assessment of the risk of material misstatement of the financial statements. The results of our audit procedures, including the procedures performed to address the matters below, provide the basis for our audit opinion on the company financial statements. And then went further to state the responsibilities of the audit of the financial statements. Then I take the last part of the report. So as part of an audit in accordance with ISAS, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We also, 1, identify and assess the risk of material misstatement of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks, and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for opinion. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than for one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omissions, misrepresentations, or the override of internal control. 2, obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstance, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the company's internal control. Did evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of accounting estimates and related disclosures made by management. Conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern of accounting, and based on the audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists related to events or conditions that may cast significant doubt on the company's ability to continue as a going concern. If we conclude that a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw attention in our auditor's report to the related disclosures in the financial statements, or, if such disclosures are inadequate, to modify our opinion. Our conclusions are based on the audit evidence obtained up to the date of our auditor's report. However, future events or conditions may cause the company to cease to continue as a going concern. Evaluate the overall presentation, structured and content of the financial statements, including the disclosures, and whether the financial statements represent the underlying transaction and events in a manner that achieves fair presentation. We communicate with those charged with governance regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and significant audit findings, including any significant deficiencies in internal control that we identified during our audit. The company's and allied matters Act 2020 requires that in carrying out our audit, we consider and report to you on the following matters. We confirm that we have obtained all the information, explanations, which to the best of our knowledge and belief we are necessary for the purpose of our audit. In our opinion, proper books of accounts have been kept by the company, and the company's statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts. Signed by the partner, Uchenna Okibo.
Are there any questions on the audit report?
Mr. Chairman, the chairman of the board,
the board and management staff of NCR PLC, my distinguished fellow shareholders, regulators, regulatory bodies representatives, and ladies and gentlemen. Thank God for another year in our life, in the life of our company and management. In the midst of the various challenges and economic headwinds, we are still standing tall, driven by our vision and dedication of success have propelled us forward in the face of all these hurdles. We stand united, resolute, and ready to share the progress and future plans. Firstly, I will indulge us to go to page 15 of our financial highlight. All the key performance indicators are negative. The only positive indices is the total assets that grew by 27% from 4,510,082 billion to 5.460237 billion. Loss for the year also reduces from 1,010,523 to 737,897. Dividend, I want to talk on dividend on page 18. Since 2013, we have not been able to pay dividend in the next 11 years. Let us endeavor to do our best for our company to return to profitability. Note page 18, donation and charitable gifts. We have not been able to give back to the society we operate. Let us look back and give to the less privileged and the needy in order to promote our products and services. Sorry. So there is so much in the account. Then let's go to page 26 to 28, corporate governance report. Record of board meetings, directors' attendance at board. Committee meetings are well attended, over 85%, except Miss Louise Giorgio, who was absent 3 times out of 6 meetings. Financial position, a loss of 738.8 million was incurred for the year and had an excess of current liability over current assets of 126.6 million. Although our company generated positive operating cash flow of 2.547 billion. However, we reported a retained loss of 2.552 billion. So my observation, questions I intend to raise to improve our company performance in the coming year. They are, as a hardware and software company, how are we leveraging technology and digitization to drive innovation and improve products and services? That is the number 1 of the question. Number 2. Sorry. How will you describe the current position and competitive landscape that's contributing to our negative KPI and lack of profitability? That is number 2. Number 3. How do we determine our pricing strategy, plan to exploit
alternative revenue models and ensure it's aligned with the value you provide to customers. Number 4, have you identified any operational inefficiency or bottleneck optimizing your supply chain to manage inventory and cost reduction in any plan to streamline processing, to implement new technology to improve efficiency and impact profitability? Then how close do we monitor our financial performance, key financial metrics? What measures are we being taken to control costs and increase revenue, to exploit potential findings, options, or partners to support our path to profitability? Lastly, what is our approach towards corporate social responsibility and sustainability as a technology company? How do you manage, mitigate potential risks associated with cyber threats and data breaches? Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Fadekemi Dosumo Pereira. I'm representing the interests of Pragmatic Shareholders Association. Thank you very much for the opportunity. God bless.
Thank you so much, distinguished shareholder. We have noted the questions.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. All protocols duly observed. Once again, the name is Evangelist Dr. Antonio Mojola, a shareholder. Like the first speaker, we give glory to God that we are able to be here today for another yearly review of the company's performance. As a company that is in the IT sector, ordinarily, I thought we should perform more than what we have been doing over these years, especially this digital age, where we have opportunities to effect a lot of changes. When you look at page 3, a lot of services were listed there. So I'm just wondering, with all these services and service centers, we expect more revenue than what we're experiencing. And I want the company to have a rethink, and if possible, do a retreat of how to galvanize more services vis-a-vis ability to generate more revenue and be able to survive the challenges in the economy, because we are not alone. More competitors are coming in. They're coming in with cheaper products, and their marketing mix seems to be outpacing our own. That's probably over the years we've not been able to do better. Mr. Chairman, on page 6, 13 and 18, I look at the data relating to our directors, and I want to ask, who is the director representing the minority shareholders? One of the reasons why I'm asking is that since Mr. Akinlade retired, we don't know who's representing us. And among the directors, apart from Baba, the chairman, no other one has shares in the company. So we want to know who's representing us. From the chairman's statements within pages 10 and 12, I have this observation second to the last paragraph on page 10, we presented a report as if it's just this floating of the naira and the current inflation that's making us to have losses. And I disagree. Contrary to the impression given here, the loss in 2023 is lower than that of 2022. So we cannot, it's not the issue of currency devaluation or inflation that is causing our misfortune. We have to look in-house. Looking at page 11, we seem to detail enough services there. But I think these services, which form part of the chairman's statement, should have been better placed as adverts on different pages of this annual report for value addition. That people will look at it at a snap. You will see these services, you see products, you see related and relevant data associated with it, instead of forming part of the chairman's statement. And from that page 11 to 12, I also read what was put there, and to me, these ones look like a job and service enrichment. They don't really add value. So my question is, which are the specific products developed or services we are doing to make up to meet up the latest technological advancements, like the artificial intelligence AI, that we enhance future customer-friendly services and products of our company. On page 16, financial highlight there. I think there's just a small error there. Maybe someone else has noted in line 4, page 16. Line 4 should be loss after tax. Loss after tax. You can't have loss before tax twice. Line 2 is before, line 4 should be after tax. I look, on page 19, note 12, donation and charitable gifts. There were no donations made during the year. And I was just curious. Don't you have any cause worthy of our support, participation or appreciation within the economy, within the society? This, the management should have cause to look into in the course of the year. Because I look at what he wrote down somewhere within the, that's page 23. That's note B there. Community goals, environment. All these things are very good. But again, as good as they are, which I say good idea, but we are yet to see them being practical or being put to use. You can see the details of what we say we are doing there, but in practice, we don't act positively on them. Well, maybe as a minister of God, I believe so much in prayer, sir. And I think the little we can do for the less privileged, the prayer will help us a lot. So let's have a rethink on that. I go to page 50, sir. Page 50. Looking at the company policies, our depreciation there. I look at 3 items there: furniture and fitting, which we are depreciating for 5 years, computer equipment 4 years, plant machinery and equipment 5 years. I want to say that if you have quality furniture and fittings, some of them can last more than 10 years. I have organizations that have been using quality furniture and fittings for 15, 20 years. So why do we put them at 5 years? Ditto, plant, machinery, and equipment. which you put at 5 years. Of course, many of this machinery can last more than that. So I think we could have better, they could have better useful life. Shorter lifespan of these assets are sources of wastages of what will have constituted our working capital. So we have to review that. Okay. I tried to look at page 61 where we highlighted our trade and other payables there. I can see that this is growing. When we are growing our payables, that is not in tandem with our receivables, there is a problem. We are likely to have a liquidity problem there. So I want us to look at it that our payables should go along our receivables. So if we have more payables, definitely it's a big challenge that the company might not be able to meet its debt payment as and when it falls due. I'm on page 68. 68. Yeah, page 68, note 17. Trade and other receivables. My question here is, how reliable are these constant or consistent items? I say that because I found out they have been consistent over the time. And to crown that one, on page 70 precisely, note 21.1, non-current intercompany payables. I'm aware of the concession given to our company by the parent body over the years, especially this particular debt, which you have been shifting from year to year. And do you know what I put here? There's an item where they say debt forgiveness. I said that is where that 2.583097 item should be. Let us appeal to our parent body to forgive us the debts so that we can have a clean book and be able to raise our head above the water. Having said this, I want to say thank you for being invited here, for the opportunity given. And I also say well done to the board, the management and staff. But what happened, we urge you to do more, and God will sustain your efforts in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished members. Please, is there any other person with a question so I can just compare everything at once? Okay. Thank you, sir. The two questions that we have here, most speak more on business outlook and business strategy of the company going forward. So I will be calling on the country manager to address that aspect first, then I will speak on the financial aspect. I will call on the country manager, Mr. Charles Obatoba.
Mr. Chair. Thank you. The chairman, sir, board members, and all other protocols duly observed. We recognize the questions that has been put across to us as a company, NCR Nigeria, and I would just like quickly address some part of it, especially that has to do with business strategy. And part of the question we're talking about is how do we describe our current position and how do we return to profitability and our pricing strategy. So current situation, if you ask me, as a business, I would say that it's not good. As a matter of fact, it is not good. But the question is, can it be improved upon? The answer is yes. Why is it not good at the moment? Is everything depending on NCR as a company? The answer is no. Just little about this is associated with NCR as a company. We are the global leader in the business of ATMs and ATM solution. And when I say we are global leader, these are something that you can confirm online, especially with companies that are into same business with NCR. And we do have technology solutions that ordinarily to a company or a country should make us profitable as a business in Nigeria. But then, how do we find ourselves in this situation? I'm not talking maybe years back, because not quite long I joined this organization, but I'm talking about an issue of 3 years to where we are right now. We all know, because we live in Nigeria and most of us do our business in the country, that the economic situation in the country is actually not favoring our business growth in Nigeria. When we're entering into 2024, or from half of last year to now, we were very much expectant that we're going to be ending 2023 year into returning the company into much profitability. And if you look at some of the reports that we had given in time past, you will see that we have quite a number of opportunities in our pipeline that ordinarily, if closed, the story we are talking this morning would have been different. But what happened, we have quite a huge disparities due to the Naira devaluation in the country. For example, like early this year in February, for example, we got a purchase order from one of our company to supply ATM that ranks up to a value of 1.6 billion naira. Ordinarily, if we had gotten this and serviced it, that we would have realized huge revenue from it. But we had to return this award or purchase order to the same customer that gave us, because NCR cannot afford to fulfill that order. Why? As at the time that we submitted proposal to the customer, the exchange rate Naira dollar was 789 to $1. 789 Naira to $1. By the time the bank will be giving us an award in February this year to supply 160 units of a dispenser ATM, exchange rate was already 1,007 to $1. But we gave the proposal to the customer when it was 789. So you can see that we are going to be, in fact, it's more than enough to shut down a company if we had gone ahead to fulfill on that, because we are going to be heavily indebted. And that is just one of the, opportunities that I can just cite here. We have quite a number of them that, in fact, at the beginning of this year, we had to recall all our proposals that we had submitted to the customer because the exchange rate isn't what it was as at the time the proposal was given. So how do we fulfill that order that was returned? The bank said, okay, we understand your position, NCR, that, a lot of things has changed, but we would wait because the management, they already got approval from their board for a particular amount, only to realize now that the amount they got approval for, they have to pay ×3 of it to get the order fulfilled. So they are not ready to do that. And they said the best way is to wait in case Naira appreciates. And there was a time about some weeks back, maybe a month, that Naira started appreciating. And we're all happy that, adding 2 weeks to it, we should be able to get close. In fact, the bank said if the Naira appreciates to 900 to $1, they will be able to ask us to continue and deliver. So they just add a little. But just as we're rejoicing that Naira has started appreciating, the thing now has started going back to what it was. As at this morning, it's 1,470 Naira to $1. So this has kept down this opportunity and some other opportunities that we retrieved the proposal and we submitted to the customer. They could not go ahead and process because it now becomes very huge. And you will agree with me that NCR is an American company, and our base currency is in dollars. So our proposals are submitted, pricing are submitted to us in Nigeria in dollar. But when we quote to customer, we have to quote to customer in Naira. By the time we apply the exchange rate, it becomes something huge. Then, how do we return to profitability? We're having a huge challenge from other competitors in the market. Some of these competitors, they are local competitors whose pricing are in Naira. So we find it very hard as a business to compete with them. But we are working very hard with our corporate office to ensure that huge discount is given to us when they are quoted to us in Naira, so that we can accommodate part of this challenge. And some of the challenges we're having is rolling stock, where a customer, it can take bank 1 year to make up their mind on something, but as at the time they're not making up their mind to submit award letter, they want their ATM delivered immediately. So we now realize that by business policy, we need to have rolling stock in Nigeria, wherein ATMs can be brought into the country ahead of time to accommodate the timelines that the customer is going to be demanding. But since this is not a business policy for NCR, so we now discover that the only way we can absorb this is to onboard a local partner. So as I'm talking to you now, I think we are like 87% done with a local partner that we want to onboard that will help us. Number one, they will be able to speak Nigerian language. Number two, they are dealing directly in this customer, and they will be able to quote directly to the customer, and they will be able to bring the ATM ahead of an order that we are expecting. So this will help us going forward to absorb that gap. So this is some of those things that we are practicing. Then another thing we are looking at on how we can return to profitability is NCR is essentially a hardware company and a software company. But in Nigeria, our business, 85% or 90% of our business focus has been on hardware. So what do we do? So this present administration, as part of our strategy to introduce software, more of software, we will still continue to push for our normal ATM hardware, but we are bringing in some software that will be able to add value to the customer. The cost is not as much as the cost of hardware, and it also has the potential to increase their business revenue. So these are some of the strategies that we are bringing on board to ensure that we return to profitability. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished shareholders. In line with what MD has said regarding the business outlook and strategy going forward, I just want to point out to some of the questions that were raised by our distinguished shareholders regarding how to improve the company's profitability, and at the same time the strategy on introducing more profit yielding products in the market. Just as MD has mentioned, we are faced with greater macroeconomic challenges in the country, and that is affecting the business of NCR Nigeria PLC. As we know that operating an environment, we are being driven by government policies. And when those policies affect our sector, it reduces our market share on some aspect of the economy. NCR Nigeria, basically now we are into provision of self-serve financial technologies, and every policy of government on monetary policy do affect our organization. And we are dealing with banks that are highly regulated by government, and some of those policies that have affected us has to do with the promotion of ATM by the CBN. We know when CBN introduced cashless economy, it gives a boost to ATM, but later there were some policies of CBN that more or less was pushing ATM out of market. And one of those things is the removal of charges on ATM. It therefore makes ATM business unprofitable to the banks. The banks are divesting from ATM equipment, and that grossly affected our push on revenue coming from ATM, as not most banks are buying ATM as we speak now, because it's no longer a profitable business to the banks, as there are no charges that come to them. It's more or less that the services they pay affects their margin, and that also affects our inflow from services. As you have mentioned to this house before, the strategy we adopted when we are pushing much of those buses, the intention was that there will be regular flow of revenue coming from services. And with the government policy, which now makes ATM business unprofitable to the banks, that became a tug of war on the pricing of the services we are supposed to give. So most banks are decommissioning their ATMs. And so when ATM is decommissioned, even though it may be at the site and it's no longer functioning, there is no way we can make revenue regarding services on such ATM. That causes decline on our services revenue. First, it has reduced the sales of those ATM, and it's also now affecting our inflow on services. And that is where the drive of the company now is to push more on the software aspect, where we have some proprietary rights to be able to still have some right over those softwares and have some subscriptions coming on them. On the aspect of also the question on CSR policy of the company. Yes, the company is committed to giving back to the society where we operate. And NCR Nigeria in the past has done that when they provided computers to schools and all that to support the education system. But as it is now, we have not really been able, considering the financial position of the company, to push more on that. But we are looking forward. It is a policy that we believe in, and as more of opportunity gives for that, we will dive into what will be done to improve also our CSR in the country. And also on the aspect of the policies regarding depreciation. The depreciation policies, which more or less like an accounting estimates on our fixed assets, we are actually based on the use of those items and also the economic environment where those items are. And some of these policies we are really adjusted in line with what our external auditors also view based on the operating environment where we operate. And that affects what we align with some of our equipment and other items. I know that even though furnitures can stay longer, but for a company that believes on brand, there are some level of use of those items that you no longer see the quality there. And that is why in the first 5 years, when those items are expected to give its maximum benefits, value to the company tries to spend the cost within those periods. And I think it is in line with every accounting standard. So we are believing that the shareholder will understand the company position on that aspect. Regarding trade and other payables growing in recent years, when you compare it to the receivables, what should you expect? When your payables are growing, receivables also should be growing. Just as we did mention, 99% of our cost of our purchases is dollar-based. And therefore, if there is a devaluation of Naira, the Naira value reported in the financials will jump up, because more or less you're having a triple multiplier on the value you have, which in the company's growth on the sales, whatever, has not made significant improvement. That is exactly what is being depicted in the report we have. Our Naira base, our businesses based on CBN regulation is Naira denominated. Our orders are Naira denominated. Invoicing to customers are Naira denominated. But our purchases, cost of bringing those things, are dollar denominated. So when there is devaluation of Naira, the outstanding dollar values on payables are revalued to reflect the fair value of those figures we have there. That's what impacted what we are having under trade and other payables. Regarding the non-current payable, that is what the board is pushing, and that is being also followed up by our distinguished members of the audit committee. They are on it, ensuring that we get results on having that pardon, and we are pushing on that, hoping, because we have received pardon in the past, we are hoping that that should be gotten and we'll be able to have that cleared in the book, just as the distinguished member has mentioned. Then on the trade and other receivables reliability, because some of the values there has been consistent in our reporting. I think the shareholder is referring to the other receivables, which has to do with withholding tax receivables. The withholding tax receivables we have there are actually credit notes that have been deducted on our transactions and paid to the government, which we have credit notes, which is also standing on our balance in the tax promise platform of Federal Inland Revenue Service. And those things can only clear when the business boom and we have substantial value for access to tax to be able to utilize those credit notes. As long as those things has not happened, we will see the carrying that receivable because it's an asset to the company. That is why we see such good value still standing in our receivables. I want to believe distinguished shareholders have attended some of the questions you mentioned. Thank you very much.
The second item on the agenda is to elect and to re-elect the retiring director. Pursuant to section 2742 of CAMA, the board appointed Mr. Yekachi Caleb Chukwueke as the director to fill a casual vacancy on the board. The board is presenting this appointment at this meeting for your ratification. The profile of Mr. Chukwueke is on page 15 of the annual report. I hereby move the following motion that pursuant to section 2742 of CAMA, Mr. Caleb Chukwueke, appointment as the director of the company, is hereby ratified.
Second shareholder, please.
Fadekemi Titilayo Dosunmu Pereira, I so do. I second you.
Kábíyèsí o. Kábíyèsí sà. Ó kí tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ sà.
Let's work with Mwasa. Now, on this board now, minority shareholders are no longer represented since the exit of Mr. Matthew Akelade. What are you going to do for us, please, sir? Thank you very much. My name is Chief Timothy Adesina. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed, Papa. No, I'm grateful. The matter is receiving attention. We have already communicated with NCR in name, and we are awaiting the approval for the nominee to be presented. This will be presented in the next few weeks. Thank you very much indeed. But those in favor of Chukwueke, thank you very much. The register.
Those against, may I ask? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For this resolution, I would like to confirm that we received 54 proxies representing 67,150,382 voting in favor of this resolution. For all the shareholders present as well, we have their votes in favor. Therefore, the total units voting in favor of this resolution is 68,484,781. No shareholder voted against. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed. Pursuant to section 2742 of Camera, the board appointed Mr. Jimmy James Kalmeka as a member, as a director, to fill a casual vacancy on the board. The board is presenting the appointment at this meeting for ratification. The profile of Mr. Kalmeka is on page 14 of the annual report. I hereby move the following motion: that pursuant to section 274(2) of CAMA, Mr. Jimmy James Kalmeka, appointment as a director of the company with effect from today, be and is hereby ratified.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Evangelist Dr. Anthony Amonjola. I do support the motion.
Dear shareholders, may we have the votes of those in favor of the appointment of Mr. Kalumka as director? Those in favor? Thank you. Those against? Dear Chairman, I confirm for this resolution that the total proxies and shareholder present represented 68,484,781, which represents 100% of the vote received. All voted in favor of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Pursuant to section 2742 of CAMA, the board appointed Ms. Karen Whichcock as a director to fill a vacancy on the board. The board is presenting the appointment at this meeting for ratification. The profile of Ms. Winthrop is on page 15 of the annual report. I hereby move the following motion that pursuant to paragraph to section 274, 2 of Kama, Ms. Karen Winthrop, appointed as the director of the company with effect from 2024, be and is hereby ratified. I'm about to move.
Would the shareholder online like to second? Is anyone speaking online? Oh. Okay, so would the shareholder is present like to second?
Dosumu Pereira.
Very much. Pursuant to section 285 of the Kama, well, registrar, will you please summarize?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Shareholders in favor of the resolution to elect Ms. Karen Winthrop, the director, can you show your that the total units received, both proxies and shareholder present, represent 68,484,781, and they all voted in favor of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Pursuant to section 285 of Kama, the director to retire by rotation is Chief Bisade Bilbaku, and being eligible has offered himself for the re-election at this meeting. The profile of Chief Bilbaku is on page 15 of the annual report. I hereby move the following motion that pursuant to section 2851 of Kama, Chief Bisade Bilbaku be and is hereby elected, re-elected as a director of the company.
Kábíyèsí o, I so second. My name is Chief Timothy Adeshiyan.
Shareholders in favor, please signify by raising up your hand. Thank you, shareholders. Shareholders against? None. Dear Chairman, I confirm that the total votes received were all in favor of this resolution is 68,484,781, which represents 100% of the votes received. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next item on the agenda is to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. I hereby move the following motion that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditors, Grant Thornton.
Thank you, Mr. Akinlade.
Shareholders in favor of this resolution, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Any shareholder voting against? Dear Chairman, I confirm that for this resolution, we have a total of 68,484,781 units, all in favor of this resolution. No shareholder voted against this resolution, so we have it 100% captured 59 shareholders. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The next item is to elect members of the audit committee. We receive valid nominations for the following persons: Mrs. Martha Marina, Nema Amadi, Alhaji Mustafa Ichola Inodu, Fellow of the Institute of Directors, Mr. Taiwo Kashima Wakonji. As only 3 valid nominations were received, and these shareholder representatives are required on the committee, the 3 persons are elected as shareholders representatives on the audit committee of the company for the year 2024-2025 financial year. The members of the audit committee of your company for the year 24-25 are Mrs. Martina Amadi, Alhaji Mustafa Ichola Inodu, Mr. Taiwo Kashimawo Akoji, Mr. Matthew Adifila, Mr. Jimmy James Kalimuta. We wish the newly elected members of the Statutory Audit Committee the best in their endeavor. The next item on the agenda is to disclose the remuneration of the managers of the companies in accordance with the provision of Section 257 of CAMA. Pursuant to the foregoing, the remuneration of managers of the company for the year 2023 financial year was 400. Only. The next item on the agenda is an item of special business, which is to approve the remuneration of the directors. Note 27.1 of the annual report sets out the details of the remuneration of the directors. It is important to note that the review in remuneration is not being proposed for the directors. I hereby move the following motion: that the remuneration of the non-executive directors of NCR Nigeria for the year ended 31st December 2024 and until further notice be and is hereby fixed at 3.5 million, 3.5 million. As director fees. Thank you.
So as the chairman is a beneficiary of that resolution, I urge that to be transferred to the acting MD. Thank you.
Sorry, sir, do you mean somebody else should move the motion? Yeah. Okay, he's not a shareholder, sir. So maybe another shareholder will move. Is that what you're saying, sir?
No, I said it's...
Okay, to read it. Okay.
Read it. The chairman cannot read because the chairman is benefiting from that.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is an item of special business, which is to approve the remuneration of the directors. So note 27.1 of the annual report sets out the details of the remuneration of the company's directors. It is important to note that a review in remuneration is not being proposed for the directors. So I hereby move the following motion. Okay, someone else?
No, you have to finish.
You have to finish it.
You have to move, and someone has to second.
Yes. Yes.
Continue.
Okay, so that I hereby move the following motion, that the remuneration of the non-executive directors of NCR Nigeria PLC for the year ending 31st December 2024 and until further notice be and is hereby fixed at 3.5 million as director's fee, and in addition, certain allowances will be paid at standard agreed rates for each meeting attended by the directors.
I so second.
Mr. Akinade, are you seconding?
I so second. I am Chief Timothy Adesina, his bona fide shareholder. Thank you.
Shareholders in favor of this resolution, please indicate by raising your hands. Online shareholders, feel free to indicate by raising your hands. Thank you. Any shareholder against? I confirm that the total units received, which is 68,484,781, all voted in favor of this resolution. No shareholder voted against. Therefore, the 100% of the units received are in favor of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The next item on the agenda is an item of special business by way of ordinary resolution. I hereby move that pursuant to Rule 20 of the Rule Book of the Nigerian Exchange Limited 2015, a general mandate be and is hereby given authorizing the company during 2024 financial year and up to the date of the next annual general meeting to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into incidental transactions necessary for the day-to-day operation from the related parties or interested persons. On normal commercial terms, considered will be consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category will be earlier entered into in 2023. Prior to the date of this meeting, I hereby ratify.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Evangelist Dr. Antonio Mojola, please support that motion.
Dear shareholders, can you indicate your preference by raising your hand if you are voting in favor of this resolution? Thank you. You may put your hands down. Any shareholder voting in favor? I confirm that this resolution, which is to approve a general mandate authorizing the company during the 2024 financial year and up to the date of the next AGM to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into such incidental transaction necessary for its day-to-day operations from related parties or interested persons on normal commercial terms consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy, and to ratify all transactions falling under this category which were earlier entered into in 2024 prior to the date of this meeting. The total votes received is 68,484,781, and all the units are voting in favor of this resolution. No shareholder voted against. Therefore, we have all the units, which is 100%, voting in favor of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The last item on the agenda is also an item of special business. In the approval by a special resolution, it is to approve the amendment of the Article of Association of the company by virtue of Schedule 11 of the Business Facilitation Act 2023, which amended Section 240 of CAMA and authorized all companies to hold their general meetings virtually, the board at its meeting resolved to recommend to the shareholders to consider, and if thought fit, pass the following resolution: that a new Article 48 be and is hereby inserted in the Articles of Association of the company, which made as follows: the annual general meeting shall be held in such manner, at such time and place as the directors shall appoint, including virtually or by any other electrical means. That the existing Article 48 to 129 be and are hereby renumbered as 49 to 120. I hereby move the motion to approve the resolution.
I so second, sir. My name is Chief Timothy Adeshinyon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Matthew Akinlade. Your hand is also being noted. Dear Chairman and esteemed shareholders, it is time to vote for the special business ordinary resolution on the new article to be inserted and the electronic meetings. For shareholders who will be voting in favor of this resolution, kindly indicate by raising your hands. Please bring down your hands. Do we have any shareholder voting in favor or, voting against this resolution? No. Thank you, everyone. For this resolution, I confirm that we have a total units of 68,484,781 voting in favor of the resolution, is 0 units voted against. Therefore, the 68,484,781 is 100% in favor of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed. We have come to the end of the meeting. I thank you all for attending and now declare the 72nd AGM of the company closed. I want to thank all the attendees for coming along to perform this duty, which we really appreciate. Thank you very much indeed. And also, we acknowledge those online. Thank you very much. Sorry. Oh. National anthem.